Cryptids are animals and creatures that are claimed to exist by eyewitnesses, but have no scientific backing. In this video, I will once and for all determine who is the scariest, creepiest, and downright horrifyingest of all cryptids. For our criteria, we have reach, because if something can't be encountered where you are, it's significantly less scary. Then we have physical prowess. If something can be survived getting shot, and it can slice your head clean off, that's inherently scary. Lastly, we have unknown factor. The less you know about something and its capabilities, the more on edge you're going to be. There are many cryptids, but a lot of them do follow the same archetypes, so in order to make this video exist, I'm not covering anything that's too similar to anything else, like for example the Yeti and Bigfoot. They're both basically the same thing, so I will only rank one of them. So with that being said, Bigfoot is arguably the most famous of all cryptids and is only found in the North American wilderness. Now that already limits Bigfoot's reach, but also due to deforestation, his natural habitat is shrinking, so he is kinda cooked. 1 out of 5 stars for reach. Now, while things might look bad for Bigfoot, he does have high potential for physical harm. One non-mythical gorilla can put 1,000 pounds of force into a single punch. So 5 out of 5 for physical harm. Unfortunately for Bigfoot, he is very popular, so while he can be intimidating for his strength, you're not gonna be left wondering if you're in danger or what is chasing you through the woods. 0 out of 5. The Ajool, or bush dog, is a dog with webbed feet and thick skin. They can also release a pheromone to help catch prey and cause fights between humans. These creatures are native to the northern African region and roam around in packs. Since these dogs are only found in North Africa, they get 2 out of 5 stars for reach. As for the capacity of harm these things can produce, they're not really stronger than your average wild dog. However, they do roam in packs, which makes them more dangerous than would be first assumed. 4 out of 5. As for unknown factor, while most people probably don't know too much about them, their simplicity kinda makes them easier to read, so they get 2 out of 5. The Ajool is a really buff bat. It's found in Indonesian jungles, and something cool about being a bat is flight, which automatically makes these things range pretty high, so 3 out of 5. As for their physical capabilities, due to being just really big, they do pack a punch, but they don't really have any special attacking skills, nor defensive for that matter, so 3 out of 5. Lastly, their unknown factor is lacking. They are just really big bats. So 1 out of 5. The Loch Ness Monster is native to, Loch Ness. Now, something important for Ness's reach is that Loch Ness connects to the ocean via River Ness. The ocean is really big, and that means if you live in a coastal region, you might be able to encounter the Loch Ness Monster. However, the reach does get heavily nerfed by only being in water, so 3 out of 5. As for Nessie's combat capabilities, they have almost none other than maybe a basic bite, 1 out of 5. But as for unknown factor, just like Bigfoot, Nessie is really popular. So unfortunately, Nessie gets a 0 out of 5. The Big Gray Man is a being that is very thin and over 10 feet tall. He has dark skin and hair and has very long arms. The Big Gray Man haunts the summit and passes of Ben Matushi. This cryptid might have the least range out of anyone on this list, and for that, 0 out of 5. The Big Gray Man has 0 reports of attacking people, but due to being a ghost-like being, he can't be attacked, so 3 out of 5. He gets a 5 out of 5 for unknown factors, being obscured by fog and no one being able to get a good look at him. There's not much known about him, or what he could do. The Kulakamba is a hybrid species between chimpanzees and gorillas, and they were reported in Africa. It's limited to 1 continent, so 3 out of 5. Just like Bigfoot, this cryptid packs a punch. Both gorillas and chimps are both really strong in their own right, so putting them together makes a really strong creature. 5 out of 5. For unknown factor, there really isn't anything mysterious or hidden about this creature, so 0 out of 5. The Beast of Gavaudan is a French wolf-like beast who terrorized the province. of Gavaden, destroying homes and slaughtering and consuming many victims throughout its lifespan. Unlike other cryptids on this list, this cryptid is fucking dead. Now, since it's dead, it can't really have any reach, since it's physically impossible to encounter this beast in modern times, because it's dead. 0 out of 5. This beast is incredibly powerful though, and is known to have killed at least 100 people. Its bite can pierce right through human flesh, and maybe even bone. 5 out of 5. For unknown factor, this being is weirdly strong and quick, so it has great potential to be mysterious if it desired to be. However, this being seems to prefer just to tank bullets rather than lurking and stalking its prey. So, 2 out of 5. The Mongolian deathworm is 2 feet long, super poisonous, and bright red. It is native to the Gobi Desert, which is in northern China and southern Mongolia. The Gobi Desert is one of the least populated areas on Earth, so you'd be pretty hard-pressed to find someone that lived or even just been there. 1 out of 5. Now for physical harm, if you touch this thing, you die. 5 out of 5. Now, the problem with this cryptid is that by the time you get to see and try and understand what it is, you're probably dead. But assuming that you see it and don't die immediately, you're probably just going to assume it's just a weird worm. So, 0 out of 5. You're not going to know something's wrong until you're dead. The mini pogo is a sea serpent-like creature, and unlike Nessie, the body of water this one inhabits does not lead to an ocean, so 1 out of 5. Physically, not much is known about this cryptid, but if it's true that it's similar to a plesiosaur, then it's powerful. But doesn't have any special skills or powers. However, it has been seen traveling in packs, so 5 out of 5. Now, not too much is known about this creature, as it's never been photographed, and the water inhibits sight of it. 2 out of 5 for unknown factor. For a brief second here, I do want to say that if you are enjoying the video, make sure to like and subscribe. You don't have to, but it'd be nice. Anyways, back to the video. The Sojo are sea spirits that resemble humans with long red hair, and they love alcohol. They're located all throughout Japan, and Japan is the 12th largest country in the world, so they get a 2 out of 5 for reach. For physical power, these beings show little to no intent for violence, but if you are a bad person, they will offer you a drink, and if you take it, you will die. It gets a 1 out of 5, since this attack requires way too many prerequisites. These spirits don't really hide what they're about from people, therefore they're not really mysterious or surprising, so 1 out of 5. Globsters are organic masses of flesh that wash up upon shores. This makes them a worldwide phenomenon. They get a 4 out of 5. For physical power, they get nothing. They're, dead. However, for their unknown factor, they also get a 0. Most globsters have been identified. Now, I do want to say that the reason why I still gave this cryptid a score for encounterability is because this cryptid is found dead. That's the whole point of the cryptid. Next up we have humanoid lizard people. They have the power of shapeshifting, and they take on human appearances to control our governments. With the power of shapeshifting, they get pretty much anywhere on the planet, so 5 out of 5. Their power doesn't really come from physical means, but they do have control over a lot of agencies and or other people that could pose a problem. However, all men can die, and that includes scaly men. 2 out of 5. For their unknown factor, they can hide really, really well, so they get a huge advantage. Along with their great acting skills, it earns them a 5 out of 5. Next up is the second most famous cryptid, native to West Virginia. Mothman is, well, a Mothman. It gets a 1 out of 5 for reach. It's only found in West Virginia. And as for strength, the Mothman is fast, and he can fly. 3 out of 5. Mothman's unknown factor should be pretty low due to its popularity, However, it is said that Mothman also appears when disasters appear. Due to the ramifications of encountering Mothman, they get a 2 out of 5. You never know what could happen. The Beast of Bladenborough, a creature that was responsible for the deaths of 8 animals and was promptly killed. 0 out of 5 for reach. It got killed by a gun and only killed smaller animals. 2 out of 5 for strength. For unknown factor, it is the equivalent of a coyote. 0 out of 5. The Queensland tiger is a dog-sized feline with stripes and a long tail. Being native to Australia and sticking inside of its bounds, it receives a 2 out of 5. For strength, it would be relatively similar to other smallish felines, given a score of 1 out of 5. The unknown factor of this creature is lacking since it holds no special skills or properties. 0 out of 5. The Megalodon is an unbelievably giant shark, and it is regarded as one of the most powerful predators of all time. 5 out of 5 for physical capabilities. The Megalodon cannot leave the water. They also only live in warm, shallow coastal waters. 1 out of 5. And this animal is just a really big shark. 0 out of 5. The Michigan Dogman is a man-esque dog that appears around every 10 years in Wexford County. 1 out of 5. This entity seems to be rather durable, since it has survived being hit by a car. But physical strength seems to be lacking since it failed to kill a man while being in a group with 4 other dogs. Combining these factors, I give it a 2 out of 5. As for unknown factor, I give it a 1 out of 5. It's noticeably not normal, but it doesn't have anything that different compared to other creatures that exist. The Kraken is a giant cephalopod found in the waters of the Norwegian Sea. 1 out of 5 for reach. The strength of this creature can easily destroy big wooden ships, and it is known to eat sailors alive caught in its tentacles. 5 out of 5. This creature is hidden by the water and has great stealth, but it is just a big version of a pre-existing animal, so 2 out of 5 for unknown factor. Injured Cold is an alien spotted in West Virginia, which you suspect would give him a low score. However, he is a flying saucer that travels through space. 5 out of 5. Physically, not much is known about him, and he's never really been hostile. However, he does take a human shape, so that means he can most definitely use a gun if needed. 4 out of 5. For unknown factor, he literally comes from the stars and has alien tech. However, he does say that his country is weaker than America at the time. So while this does limit things, there's still a lot of room for weird shit. But he does get a 3 out of 5. The Flatwoods Monster is an alien found in West Virginia, and just like Injured Cold, has a spaceship. 5 out of 5 for reach. Physically, this thing is slower than a human, but it does show aggression towards humans. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. For unknown factor, this thing gets a 5 out of 5. It's just like Injured Cold, but this thing doesn't talk, nor is it stated to be limited in its tech, and it also emits a weird and presumably toxic smell. The Wendigo is the embodiment of greed, gluttony, and excess. Wendigos live in Canada and the northern United States, giving it a reach of 2 out of 5. Power-wise, this thing is fucking overpowered. It can possess people, induce the want to eat human flesh onto others, speak English, be smart, survive without limbs, and has both enhanced speed and strength. It gets a 5. Hell, maybe even a 6. And for unknown factor, it's not of this world, but it's not exactly hiding what it does. 3 out of 5. And that's all, folks. Now, if you've been keeping score at home, you would know that our least scary cryptid is the Queensland tiger at a whopping 3. Looking at this cryptid objectively, it makes sense that it's the least scary. It's just a bobcat that was slightly stealthy, although I do think it does show that people will create these scary, mysterious creatures to explain even mundane mysteries. And there's a sort of beauty in that, making the mundane world just a little bit more wonderful. Now, give a round of applause to the most terrifying cryptid of them all, the Flatwoods Monster. Honestly, it makes sense why this one's the most terrifying. I mean, it has some crazy, like, smell thing going on. It's an alien. Like, it makes sense. Anywho, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time, and I assure you, it will be sooner than the last time. Probably, maybe, definitely.